Hey there, boys and girls. Welcome to another episode of Hollow Weekly. Nick and George here with, again, special guest Alex Taylor.
Hey, guys.
And today's episode is horror resolutions we would like to see in 2018.
Yes.
So let's just start real quick with 2017.
Okay.
We're in the final stretch of this year.
Mm-hmm.
I think we did the year-end awards a few weeks ago, and I think, if I remember correctly, we both felt like this year was slightly better than last year. So we're hoping there isn't like the...
Wrong.
Okay, so I liked it.
Yeah, I felt like this year was slightly worse than last year, but not by much.
Well, so George was wrong, and what I said...
I have my New Year's resolution for what you should be. Oh, God.
My New Year's resolution to go fuck myself.
No.
So what did you guys think of this year? I thought with It, Get Out, Split, Life, Annabelle Creation, like it was a pretty solid year. Twin Peaks: The Return.
Oh, shit.
Oh no, but this year wasn't as good as last year, was it, George?
Oh, my
Well,
God.
I think it just says a lot
Totally
that like
forgot.
all these horror movies actually did very well. They were like very successful, which is why I'm hopeful about next year. They're like all the filmmaking companies see that like horror has a big audience and it can make money.
Yes.
So hopefully that leads to more horror.
I hope it's not like because sometimes it's a dangerous trend where people forget that horror is profitable, and then they all like dog
Make a
pile
bunch of
onto
bullshit.
it, and then they make dog shit.
Yep.
Well, I think even with the success of Stranger Things, like I think Netflix is starting like Dark. We recently spoke about Dark, how that was just put on there. Maybe I'm hoping they're trying to get a lot more. They want to get to 50% original content and then 50% licensing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping some of that 50% content is more horror.
Yes,
I don't know, because I actually liked The Void. I was kind of iffy about it. Have you guys seen The
Yeah.
Void?
I have not, but I've seen everyone
like
in the
it.
group and page talk about it.
Yeah, it's like
It's good.
I kind of say it's like a cross between like it's very Lovecraftian and Hellraiser. Clive Barker
Sure.
in a good way.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I really enjoy. I give a lot of awards to Life. So I
haven't seen that.
you should. I'll check out The Void. You check out Life. It was
Deal.
It was very good, and also for TV horror too. Like you've been watching The Exorcist, right, George? And
Yes.
it's the finale's coming up this week,
I think so.
and it's holding up pretty well
Yes.
still.
I mean, I actually like this season better than the original season by a hair. But yeah, I think that's the thing is they really... It's one of the few. You pointed this out was you don't trust Fox as a network, right? You feel like they're always going to like generic it up, or
Yeah, like every commercial, everything's gonna have like a Pepsi commercial in between it, and then talk about how they miss American Idol.
Yes, totally, totally.
Or
And
just a bunch of sexy people that shouldn't be. Like Gotham. I know. Gotham's not on Fox, but you know what I mean. Like I don't think
that effect.
Commissioner Gordon should be a fucking model. Anyway.
Well, yeah, but that's the thing is I think they kept it legitimately scary, which is really cool that they you're watching a network series, but it can still rattle you.
Yeah,
Lore.
yeah,
Hulu? That's Hulu original, right?
yeah. Or Amazon original.
That was awesome. Lore was incredible.
I loved the lore. I didn't like the werewolf episode.
Yeah,
that was the
that was the weakest.
that was the weakest one, but everything else super solid.
Yeah.
I don't. This is gonna sound weird, but I'm gonna actually tie it into our last episode with Scream. I've actually sort of dug, and I'm just gonna say it. I don't give a shit. I got into Riverdale.
You did.
I
haven't
did.
watched it.
It's dark. It's dark Archie, and the kid.
Dark Archie.
The kid.
That's how they're selling it. I think it's
the-
based off of Archie comics, correct?
Yeah. It's the whole Archie thing, and Jughead is a big like cinephile, and he talks about how something happened, and it was like something out of a Wes Craven film. Cut to his father. His father was the guy who was the original killer in Scream,
Ah.
and it
Wait.
has
Like the actor,
The actor.
Skeet Ulrich, or Matthew Lillard.
Skeet Ulrich.
Yeah, the Billy Loomis guy.
Yeah,
Okay,
I think so.
That's cool.
Let me double check that. And it also has one of the moms was the diner lady from Twin Peaks.
Oh, rad.
Nice.
So I like that.
So in terms of movies, gave the edge a little bit to 2016, only because originality and horror, which is what Get Out was, where it's not just a redo of a property.
It is Skeet.
It is
Yes.
Skeet.
Gotcha.
The original.
He's got such a cool face. That's a
Such
weird
a
thing.
dumb name.
It's a weird
Such
thing
a
to
dumb
say.
name with a cool face.
It's such a weird thing to say. He has a cool face, but he just looks like a badass. Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine. You're
He
totally
looks
fine.
like Johnny Depp.
But
I can see that.
the thing is, in 2016 we had The Invitation, The Witch, The Love Witch, which everyone slept on, which I think is a great movie. There's all these original movies that came out that were really, really strong. Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing, was when I count up 2016, I've got like 10 Cloverfield Lane, Green Room, The Witch, The Monster, The Love Witch, which everyone slept on and they shouldn't have, and The Invitation. So there was a bunch of top tier original movies. The top tier original movies of 2017 were Get Out and Split.
Life.
Yeah.
It.
I mean, Life's a huge studio movie, but it's an original property.
Yeah.
It just felt sort of retread Alien, even though it was
Yeah, some
really
people compare it to Alien, which is completely fair.
right.
I can see that.
But these
And It
movies
came-
came out of nowhere. Like The Invitation is. I mean, who's ever seen like a 2-hour horror cocktail party movie? Like, that's not a thing until it was. So, but once you told me about Twin Peaks: The Return, and I included TV, I'm like, God damn it, fine, 2017.
It's pretty good.
But at least it didn't. At least it's not worse. It's definitely a tie.
Yes, I would say that's fair. I would give it a hair above 2016.
It's not like 2015, which was crap.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So overall, the year was pretty decent.
Pretty damn good and financially successful for horror.
Yes, it was very
For
good.
George A. Romero and Toby Hooper, though.
Yeah.
Pretty bad year.
That's a good point. Bad year from.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
2016 had a lot more deaths though.
true.
Celebrity deaths. Like that was
Did
what it
Wes
was.
go in 2016 or 15?
He went a few years before.
I think it was 2015,
Yeah,
yeah.
because I think he's been gone for like 3 or 4 years now or something like that. Like like me and George looked it up the other day. And we were like, God,
I know.
it's
What a loss.
been that long already,
Yeah.
and it's still sad watching the film.
Yeah, his affected me the most, I think, because I was ready for George A. Romero. He was a little older. He didn't really seem like he was quitting smoking anytime soon.
Right. Right.
And I like Toby Hooper. I respect his work, but Wes, yeah.
Well, and honestly, the Wes Craven one was. He seemed so vital and articulate and all those things that this is your memory of him. Even Toby, like the last news item about Toby before he died was like he got beat up by his wife or something. Like
Yeah.
it just seemed like there were, George and Toby were leading the kind of lives where you're like not stunning that they died.
Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
But Wes, you just felt like he was in his Batcave making another brilliant movie.
Yeah.
And you were just going to see it any day now. Yeah.
no. So, with that said, on that bright light note,
Great.
let's go into what we would love to see going into 2018 from the horror field. This is everything. This is books, televisions, movies,
Yes.
comics, you name it.
So we're making New Year's resolution for the horror genre.
Horror genre in as a whole.
All right.
All right, so I'm gonna jump in with my first one is Universal does their second hard reset with the Universal monsters and hands them over to Blumhouse, because there was also that article. Everyone's rooting for Blumhouse to somehow obtain the rights to be able to do it.
To everything.
And there was also that really heartbreaking article. Heartbreaking. It was kind of depressing, where Guillermo del Toro didn't do the Universal. I don't see him doing it because he's coming off The Shape of Water, which is getting crazy good reviews, and he says he wants to take some time off. So maybe that time off, that year or two or however long it is, maybe that gets him jazzed up. I don't think that's very likely. But I could definitely see something like Blumhouse taking the reins of the Universal Monsters. And I was actually thinking about this. I would like to see the Universal Monsters on not like a huge budget, but like that smaller scale budget, because I always feel like that makes for better horror films. And I wanted to ask you guys this. Universal, let's say it comes true. Universal Monsters, Jason Blum has full control over this. Do you want R-rated Universal Monsters or PG-13 monsters?
R.
You would go with R?
Of course.
I'd go with whatever seems best for the certain monster. Like, I think vampire, Dracula, I think that's R. Frankenstein, that could be pretty gory. That could be R. Wolfman. I don't know. It's
I could
tough.
see. I mean, it's hard to even imagine an R-rated Invisible Man movie.
Yeah,
So-
I think that's what I mean.
So
It's
that's a
like
good point,
Certain like Creature from the Black Lagoon. Wait.
Yeah. Creature be in there.
I think that.
And the Mummy. That if they
Yeah.
redid you're right. The quieter horror ones, I could see being PG.
And that's what I was saying. Is like I don't think all of them need to be
Right.
hard R, because like especially with stuff like Deadpool and Logan, like the R rating definitely makes sense for those characters. But I could see like Dracula being R, Frankenstein being R, but like Invisible Man being like PG-13 and like almost giving it, because Split was PG-13, right?
I think so.
I believe so.
Yeah, I could see like Invisible Man being that kind of.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
As a matter of fact, I don't know. I'd have to go back and look at what Del Toro's movies are. But I mean, I would just hand the whole thing over to Del Toro, and I would imagine they would all be PG-13 if I did that,
Yeah,
because that's probably what he makes.
yeah.
So,
I really liked your point about the budget. I actually didn't consider that. I like the idea of not having like a major budget.
Yeah.
Because I tend to not like big, like World War Z had a huge budget. I thought that was shitty.
Which David Fincher's doing the sequel for.
Wait, they're actually doing a sequel?
he is.
Who's
yeah.
asking for a sequel? Anyway,
don't
but
know.
Fincher, I'd be down. And what's the one? Will Smith, I Am Legend?
Yeah.
I just wasn't into it. It's a
Nope.
huge budget movie.
Yep.
I don't know.
No, I think that. I mean, I think this year proved it, because when you compare the budget of it to the budget of Dark Tower,
Oh, God.
Or to the budget of the Mummy.
right? Like
I mean, you could have with the budget of the Mummy. What was it like? Let's just say it was like $100 million. You got $20 a pop. You could have gotten Frankenstein, Dracula, creature. You could have got at $20 million each.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally. Yeah.
Well, the more money means like the more people who have like creative control, or
Yeah.
well, they're splitting it up. Like, so I think it's like you need to have somebody with like a vision. Like, I think Shape of Water has a very small budget.
20 million.
Yeah, great.
That's the reported
That's
budget.
what-
I mean,
okay.
obviously, it
Yeah.
could be different, but
Yeah.
that's what when you Google it, that's what the.
But I think if you handed Bill Condon $25 million and told him to remake Bride of Frankenstein, you'd get a great movie.
Yeah.
So that's my goal. I hope.
Good resolution.
I
like
hope
that,
they
yeah.
give it to Jason Blum. I know everyone's been echoing it. I don't like to be part of the echo chamber, but that's a message I could rally behind right there.
Good rally. I like it.
All right, so that's one of mine.
All right, my first horror resolution's a little vague, but it's gonna be this. I hope that the horror community grows instead of shrink while horror movies succeed. So here's what I mean by this: Fangoria goes bust, right? All the things that like support the horror community in terms of magazines, in terms of websites, Chiller TV gone. So you have the horror community, like the network around movies, going bust, and horror movies making more money than they've ever made ever. And it just doesn't make sense to me. I feel like the horror community should get some growth and benefit from the success of the horror movies in general. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I hope that they find ways to create new horror communities that support, or even the few last ones standing, shout out to Rue Morgue, like that are quality and know what they want to be and how they want to do what they want to do, that they get the resources. Because I get the feeling when I look at like the behind the scenes of like Rue Morgue's Festival of Fear or whatever, I get a feeling that they're running on fumes budget wise, while horror movies are just delivering sacks of cash to the studios, who turn around and
even Halloween this year, they said was a record breaking like $3 billion or something like that in costumes. Like it was like a crazy amount of people spending money on Halloween.
which is one way that would succeed. But like one of the things that we were talking about, like another shout out, because we're in LA, we have one of the few horror themed bookstores in the world, which is Dark Delicacies.
Oh, right down the street from my house.
which is a great.
And they always have signings, which is rad.
Yeah,
they just
totally.
did Bruce Campbell, and they had the
Marco Beltrami, Harry Manfredini. They do a lot of music ones, which is great. For me.
they just did one for the House series.
Yeah.
Not too long ago,
Yeah, so it's a great place with a great vibe, and
which sucks because now I'm thinking about how close it is to Pinocchio's.
so-
I'm super hungry.
I love Pinocchio's. That's my
I'm
favorite.
so
thing.
hungry.
Also, we're not paid to say
This is-
this.
yeah,
I
no,
we
no,
just
no.
love these.
We just want
movies.
to
Not
shout out. If
spicy.
you're in LA, get pizza Pinocchio's. Okay, sorry. Sorry. to
no,
interrupt.
it's fine. But that's the thing is, the name escapes me. But there was one other horror themed bookstore, and it went bankrupt this year.
Yeah, it was here in Glendale. It was
Right. No, that was also another sad. That was last
See,
year.
they're all going.
Yeah, that was Mysteries of Imagination Bookshop. It was the one that Bradbury frequented, which was also an amazing bookstore. All gone, but there was another straight up horror themed bookstore, I think, on the East Coast, and that also went. That's what I'm saying is the horror community is contracting while the movies are succeeding. So I'd like to see that turn around.
Okay, that makes sense.
Burbank definitely feels like a horror.
It's great. You got Dark Galaxies, Halloween Town, the special effects place, Creature Feature. I'm missing something.
I watched a thing about the puppet for the Crypt Keeper, and it was like somewhere in Burbank. And I was like, wow, okay, so everyone's just hanging out.
Oh, I didn't know Tim Burton was raised in Burbank. I had no idea. Like, that's where he was born and raised.
That makes sense.
I didn't know that, but it makes sense because it does kind of feel like a small town. It feels like his view of like a small town that you get from Edward Scissorhands kind of makes sense that he now.
Yeah, that sensibility totally.
Yeah.
makes
That
sense.
all adds up.
Yeah.
But I like that resolution.
All right.
Have the horror community grow, and the establishments please stay. don't go under.
Alex, what you got?
I think I mentioned this before, like how I think some of the best horror movies are made during times of like political or social unrest. Obviously, things are a little rocky right now in the world, in America.
Very much.
I want there to be like another really smart, good horror movie that comments on it, but not like really like in your face, like American Horror Story, the newest season, where they literally just talk about the election.
Right.
Yeah.
Something like
You
kind
mean
of-
like They Live?
Yeah, well, I mean, yeah, that's yeah. I mean, that's kind of right in your face, but fucking awesome.
Right.
But yeah, I don't know, something smart, and that it's like it's ripe for that right now.
So the political version of Get Out.
Yeah,
Well,
Yeah,
that
pretty
might
much.
be the. I don't want to steal it. Is this one of the resolutions for Twilight Zone?
Oh yeah, that makes sense.
Because that might be
Yeah.
that. I think that's the perfect one.
Yeah, I'm hoping Twilight Zone comes back and kind of does that. And I want Jordan Peele. I wish him nothing but success, especially with like after his masterful work in Get Out. Yeah, I'd like how like Black Mirror, brilliant. So
Yeah.
it kind of comments on society and technology and like the influence that it has on one another. That'd be cool if Twilight Zone did that, but about like social injustices or like the political landscape.
Well, Twilight
as of
Zone did do that.
now. Right? No,
Right,
that's why I think
that's
it's like
right.
that's going to be great. And I'm wishing it nothing but
Yep.
fucking good luck.
We did a post a while ago. It was really funny about political horror or Twilight Zone and political horror. And some guy went, "Watch this get real political." I'm like, the whole
course.
fucking show is political,
Dude, every
You
big horror
Nimrod?
movie is like political in some way.
Right.
Like Dawn of the, I mean, especially the the Night of the Living Dead series. But anyway.
But yeah, I'd like to see that too. That'd be
But the funny thing is it takes a touch, right? So like
Yes.
Rod
That's what I mean.
Serling had the touch where his foremost concern was entertainment. And then his next concern was intelligence.
Right, yeah.
Right? That he wasn't talking down to anyone, like whatever. And I mean, he's a very complicated man, so there's a whole bunch of other steps in there. But it was you could tell he was translating what was on his mind day to day into something that had the structure of storytelling around a campfire. And
Yeah.
it was just so
He
brilliant.
made a compelling narrative every single episode,
Yeah.
or they did, and it was all a comment on something.
Mm-hmm.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't want it to be like just bashed in your face, like American Horror Story, who has like the subtlety of like a flaming truck, but like I don't know. That's that.
I love it. We got a twofer for him.
that is beautiful.
All right.
Okay, so my next one. Some of these are just like stupid wishes. Like my next one was more creature features.
Okay.
Because I feel like we only really got.
Yeah, I'm clapping at that one. I like it.
It should because I think there needs to be
You got
more.
Life,
I think Life was the best creature this year. Annabelle Creation
Shape
had
of the Water. Counts.
My Boyfriend Lives in Water.
Yes. You might want to give context for that. Right. now.
George's significant other Jenny refers to
She screws up all movie titles, and she was like, she asked me, "We're gonna go see a movie this week. What should we see?" She's like, "I think I really want to see the trailer. It's My Boyfriend Lives in the Water."
My Boyfriend Lives in the Water.
I kind of like that title though. It's really growing on me every time we say it.
Right? It's kind of
Sounds
adds
like
up.
50s throwback. type
Yeah.
Exactly.
movie.
Exactly.
Like I was a teenage space alien.
Yeah. Exactly.
Annabelle Creation had some cool monsters in it. I like the Scarecrow.
Yep.
He got a shout out. Pennywise looked really great.
Yeah.
It's, I
Great
don't,
performer.
Yeah. I don't know if that's a creature feature.
See, it's
though.
weird. I don't think of those as creature features, but you
No,
know,
they're
the weird
really
thing
not.
is, I mean, they're sort of Shape of the Water. I feel like is a creature feature. It's
Yeah.
I mean, it's right, but I have trouble thinking it is a creature feature.
No, I mean he is a monster, but it's not a creature feature.
Yeah,
I,
he's embodying like the shape of a clown the entire time, so he never becomes the creature really, except for like a few times. It's
Right.
like munching on people's.
yeah.
Although the painting creature was kind of cool, and
Yeah.
the leopard and all that.
Ooh, yeah.
But here's the thing. So I'm gonna blow your mind with something that you forgot that I blew your mind with the last time I blew your mind with it. You ready? And this is why you're right. 2017 is definitely tied with 2016. I'm so wrong. I need to do like a mea culpa here, like Colossal.
Oh, that's
Oh
right.
shit! I didn't see that one, but
That
the trailer looked amazing.
Very good.
It's so good, and it was definitely creature feature, like full on.
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So yeah, go ahead.
I forgot about Colossal. That was a great.
I know you keep forgetting about it.
Yeah, I know. What's funny is I was listening to Fat Man on Batman, and Mark Bernardin gave that as like one of his favorite films of the year. Definitely worth checking out. I don't know, but like I can see why. This is why I'm hopeful we'll get creature features next year, is because people are like, hey, remember these make a fuck ton of money, so maybe they'll put a little bit more budget in the creature department.
Yes,
And I don't care if it's practical or VFX, because I actually read an article with the blind animosity towards CGI. There's a really great article about The Shape of Water blending practical with CGI. So it's like practical body but digital head, so they could animate it and express it, which I think is perfect. So if we can get more of that next year, more creatures, that's good in my book.
I'm with you.
That's what I'm hoping to see.
All right. My next New Year's resolution is, there was a moment in time where some employee at Twitter deactivated Donald Trump's Twitter account for like 11 minutes.
That's 11 minutes.
And right, exactly. And a lot of people were like, wow, we just had the most peaceful 11 minutes we've digitally had in a year or whatever. I want that guy to get hired by Rotten Tomatoes, and then I want him to turn Rotten Tomatoes off forever from inside Rotten Tomatoes.
Then we can't do How Low Can We Go?
We're
out
almost
of the
done
series.
with it, and it'll be archived. It's fine.
Yeah, we'll archive the last. Okay, sure. Let's do it.
Fine. That website needs to die.
Yeah.
That's my resolution, is that someone takes Rotten Tomatoes out in 2000.
I'll defend Rotten Tomatoes.
18, go ahead.
Okay, so I'm 50 to be on to get it out. I am 50-50 on Rotten Tomatoes. I think sometimes they can be right, but we're doing it where you have a whole series dedicated to how they're wrong.
Yes, we do.
But I would say there are a few films where I do think they get it right, with stuff like Whiplash and all that other shit. But but those are just great films.
But see, here's the thing: they're not getting it right. They're just an aggregator.
Yes.
Right? But the way that they're presented and the way that they're marketed and that the vibe is hostility. That green splot, like the not fresh, that whole notion.
You know what?
Metacritic is a similar aggregator, but it's not like the schoolyard bully aggregator.
Yeah, that somehow has credibility now.
Right. I mean, Rotten Tomatoes
And
literally
clout.
has rotten in his fucking name, right?
Yeah.
So it's because the way that it's pitched is pitched in a form of hostility. Plus, I think there's a lot of corruption behind the scenes about what ranks and what reviews are floated to the top. And there's a lot of misunderstanding about how it works, which we discovered when we did How Low Can We Go. I did a trivia question once on the Facebook page, which I thought was just a blast. So I'm a little bit of a hypocrite. But it was, at the time, it was, what's the highest rated, critical scored, highest rated vampire movie on Rotten Tomatoes? Right? Oh. So people were guessing all kinds of things. So it turned out that the second highest rated vampire movie was... Well, I'm sorry. So the top three, if I remember right, were Nosferatu, and then What We Do in the Shadows, and then a movie called Thirst. And the answer was Thirst. Thirst was 100% on Rotten Tomatoes when I did the question. But when I clicked it, it was because there were 3 reviews. Right? So it's so misleading about... Because Thirst is a terrible... I mean, it's not terrible, but it's not nearly... It shouldn't be in the same breath as Nosferatu and What We Do in the Shadows.
Yeah, it's
right?
kind of like Yelp. You look, it's like got 5 stars.
It's so
but
funny.
then
I
there's
was going to
one
bring that
review.
up.
It's like, oh yeah, my son's a good cook.
I was going to bring
Go to
that.
his restaurant.
I was gonna compare Rotten Tomatoes to Yelp.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
But I feel like Yelp.
Yelp gives you photos and
That's
other
true.
other things you can base a judgment on.
I feel like Yelp is way better at helping you make a decision of where to go eat than Rotten Tomatoes is on whether or not you'll enjoy a film.
Yes.
So I'm gonna concede to this argument. I think you're right. I had to try to defend it.
No, it's all
I
good.
had to have some valor for it, but
good.
didn't work out.
All right, Alex.
Okay, so 2018, it's a big year for a certain franchise.
I wish I could do the music.
Yeah.
like just like Bobby McFerrin right now. Good.
Halloween is coming out in October next year, and my resolution is I hope it doesn't suck a whole lot. I'm so terrified it's going to, because we already did a whole thing about trashing Rob Zombie. Didn't like Halloween 8. That was really bad.
Right.
And it's just the timeline's very confusing. They're disregarding everything from 2 on, and they're rewriting the end. So I don't know what they're going to do with Loomis.
Right.
I mean, he's dead, clearly.
Clearly.
Well, Donald Pleasance is dead.
Right.
But it needs to be good. But then again, like, you know, if it's bad, I guess I'll get over it. I can always go back to the original series.
Well, here's the why. There's so much at stake here because it is going to be the last one.
Yeah, well,
I know,
yeah.
but
No, I know what you mean.
But for that cycle, I can't imagine John Carpenter being involved with anything post this.
No, he's
right?
he's just scoring it. No,
Right.
That's all I know.
But yeah, but he has some approval on, or no?
Yeah, no, he approved it. But he also did the same with the other Halloweens.
Yeah,
so.
true. Good point. Yeah, I don't know.
He's
I'm
pretty blasé about it. Like, he's always like, you know, as long as somebody pays me, I don't care if they remake my movies. So actually, like, even if he approves it, like, I love John Carpenter, I don't trust him.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I can't blame him too. People are like, hey, can we do this? Like, yeah, just give me a check.
Yeah, that's exactly what he said. He's like, I extend out my hand and say, put the money there.
That's
like,
the Samuel L. Jackson strategy of how you what movies you do.
Yeah.
I do all the movies they send me.
Eric Roberts. Check out Eric Roberts. He has 48 movies slated for next year.
Right. Yeah, I'm with
Hell,
you.
he's probably in Halloween. I don't know.
I mean, so let's look at it. Best case scenario, it's next year's It.
Yeah, and it's best case scenario, it's really good. But the weird thing about it is it's canon.
Right.
So, like, that's what's like, and it's like all these other ones were canon as well. So it's like confusing. Like, so like what? So you kind of have to be the
I'm
judge
really
of what
gonna
you want.
miss the H2O Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah, me too.
And
I
she's
love
gone.
her.
She's
Yeah.
erased. Right.
Yeah, it's a different person. You know.
Right.
Essentially.
Right.
So hopefully it lives up. But yeah,
I think it'll be good. Because it's Blumhouse, right?
yeah, isn't it? Yeah, it's and it's I just forgot his name. Eastbound and Down.
Yes, but I think
Danny McBride.
Huh?
Danny
McBride. Yeah, they're right.
There was also a Danny McBride who wrote Underworld, completely different.
different.
Because the credit we did Underworld we started the Underworld series, and that name popped up, and I was like, no, that's not right. That's not right.
Yeah, I'm totally with you. I think the odds are, if you made me bet money, it would be like that it was going to be a stellar movie.
Yeah, you think?
But yeah,
Good.
But I can see where there are a lot of pitfalls, right?
Yeah, it's got a lot going against it. That's the thing. But also, it's kind of like the Dark Knight, or no, sorry, Batman Begins. How like its predecessor was Batman and Robin, so it can only get better from Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. So it has that advantage.
Here's the thing: is I get the canon thing is upsetting, and I get that all that makes sense to me. The only thing is, the one data point I have on this is that the people making it are taking a chance. They have iron balls.
Yeah,
If that's the only data point I have on something, then I feel like there's a better chance of that being good than not. If the first data point was, you know, we're not casting Jamie Lee Curtis, we're casting Reese Witherspoon as the lead, then I'd be like, you know, this movie's in trouble.
Yeah.
Right? The only data point I have right now is
Tread lightly. I'm a Reese fan, brother. No, I have a good faith in it because one, they had that article where they were like, we really hope it doesn't suck or the fans doesn't hate it. And it reminded me of a quote, if I remember correctly, of Steven Spielberg saying like he always shows up to set like scared, trying to like figure it out, and it feels like they have that same vibe of like we're just gonna do it and see if we can stick the landing. And usually that leads to a better film because they're taking a risk. So.
Well, yeah, Carpenter is more involved in this one, so it will probably feel more like a Carpenter film than Rob Zombie's did, because he's actually Carpenter's doing the music, he's producing. So yeah, I guess he's not just getting the paycheck for this one,
right.
or maybe he is. Maybe that's all he wants. He just wants to get paid for the music too. But I think he legit just loves being a rock star now. That's his thing.
Yeah.
Actually,
Good for him.
When I was speaking with Sandy Sandy Carpenter, that's his wife, at the show we went to. She said he's actually coming back to direct episodes of, I think they're like Tales of Halloween, or they're turning a comic book of his into a TV series, and he is set to direct some.
That's cool.
So he will actually, I forgot, that was one of my resolutions, and I forgot it actually is happening.
Oh, There we go.
Yeah, I forgot about that.
Congratulations, you've already knocked out some of your
A little bit.
some of your resolutions.
That's good for me. I'm done.
I got three more. The next one is to all the big studio execs is make more low budget horror films. So if they're like, I know Universal like low key kind of scrapped the Universal franchise, but just that to anyone, if you're unless you have someone like James Cameron who knows how to like take a big budget and like do like make a spectacle of it. If you have $100 million budget for like a horror film,
It's too much.
chop that up.
Yeah.
You know, make 4 or 5 other smaller horror films, because that was our biggest thing we talked about. We were like, we saw the Dark Tower budget. We're like, you could have gotten like 6 Get Outs. Like, why did you do that for? So I hope more. And plus, you also look at M. Night's films. He's started work like a Split was like what, 5 million or something like that. It was really small, and it was just a stellar movie. And he just wrapped on Glass, which is the sequel to that. So the smaller budget obviously brings out the more makes them flex the creative muscles.
Yeah, yours actually just spawned 2 of the ones that I have written down. I hope Ty West makes another movie. He should, and he always makes them with a smaller budget. And I would like for the horror community to finally re-accept M. Night Shyamalan back into it and stop pretending he's the worst director. I know he directed some bad shit, but he did The Sixth Sense. He did Signs. He did what was The Visit?
Yeah.
And Split. Those are 4 solid horror movies. And I'll forgive him for The Village and The Happening.
Yeah.
And
I
The
won't
Lady in the
forgive
Water.
him for
Avatar.
That
seems to be the
but that doesn't count. He's not a action movie director. He's a horror director.
Yeah.
He should stick with that.
Yeah, I agree. I slowly I think I'm starting to see like the horror consensus of like he's back.
Yeah.
Which is
good.
Nerve-wracking, because there was that what was it, like EW or whatever, the magazine where it had him on the front. It was like the next Spielberg.
Yep, I saw that. Yeah.
So I think as long as they don't elevate him like
that will never happen
back
again.
up to there, just keep giving him the small shit. Let him be the guy, the twist guy who knows how to make a really solid horror film. And I think he's, at least in my heart, he's back in the good graces.
Well, it's interesting because the smaller chamber style movies he makes, like Devil, Visit, Split, the better off he is.
Yeah.
Right. So that's your resolution has to also get into his head. Hopefully you're listening, because it's also what material he picks.
Yeah.
Right. Not just whether we accept him back, but whether he fucks up and does Last Airbender again.
Yeah, I was really bummed when because he was supposed to bring back Tales from the Crypt, and that got shelved. And I was like really sad about that.
Apparently they're doing some kind of sci-fi thing now.
No.
Which is funny that you bring up the whole M. Night thing, because it was announced M. Night's doing Tales from the Crypt. No, I don't know what to do it. The Visit comes out. Okay. Split came out. Great.
Yes.
M. Night, take it away.
Yeah.
Tales from the Crypt has been canceled.
Yeah.
Fuck!
Yeah, that was... It's interesting that Jordan Peele is rebooting Twilight Zone, because of all the franchises that were twist-oriented, it was Twilight Zone. I could see M. Night consulting on Twilight Zone. I can't picture those two working together, but that's what he's good at. That's his thing.
That would actually be sort of like... It'd be like I was going to say LeBron and someone else teaming up, like I don't know, it'd be like an NBA super team. I would
Michael Jordan, Scottie Pippen.
Exactly. I would love to see Jordan Peele and M. Night do some Twilight Zone stuff. If Tales from the Crypt is dead and like never coming back, because I think it was a rights thing they were fighting over, I would love to see.
But Tales from the Crypt was less twisty. Twilight Zone.
Tales from the Crypt. I mean, it always had the twist was always the bad guy's gonna get killed by the person he's killed early in the episode,
which is wonderful. I'm okay with that.
It was
it
was the way they died that was the twist. But in Twilight Zone, it was conceptually the twist, right? Like I'll never forget the one where the guy thinks he's in heaven and it's hell the whole time. It's just because
I just rewatched the one where the aliens come to visit. And they get in the spaceship, and they're like, "What is this text?" And I'm like, "It's a cookbook."
To serve man. It's so good.
I love that.
Oh, it's so good.
So yeah, I would. All
right.
That was a great resolution.
Yeah,
Let's
sorry, I didn't mean to skip.
No,
I just
that's
circled
great,
back
because
mine
I
was-
never even would have thought of like, what if Jordan Peele and M. Night did a?
He should just consult quietly behind the scenes, and then
I'd be
until he
fine with
has
that.
one more big hit, and then like people are like, okay,
Well, that'll be Glass.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
might be
Glass.
Glass. So depending on
I don't
Glass.
know, man. I don't know.
Well, that's what that'll be a bonus resolution. I hope that
Yes.
glass rocks. All right, George, what do you got?
This one's a little self-serving because I'm going to make money on it. So I'm starting a rehab center in Hollywood, and it's a place where people who make movies come and can break their addiction to jump scares. So hopefully I can make a big profit on this, because even the better movies of 2017, like It and Annabelle Creation, just could not break their addiction to overdoing cheap jump scares. Most of them, like, there were some good ones, there were some ones that were plausible, but it just felt to me like it almost felt like the director would rather not have it in there, but couldn't picture it without it being in there, right? Like, right. And that's the thing, is we had talked about in a previous episode about some of the best jump scares, that the patience that's in The Exorcist 3, nurse scene jump scare. And these jump scares are not built with those kind of patience. They're really just around the corner, out of the hallway, like what Annabelle Creation gave me a headache, and I liked it.
Yeah.
The movie in general, the atmosphere, how much better it was than the original. But I feel like they need to wean themselves off of the jump scare. That doesn't mean every movie can't have jump scares, but they felt almost out of place, like it was audience tested, or they had to include them. So plus I just want to make a bunch of money, like kind of teaching them. I'll bring them in. The first thing is, like, first day we'll watch Lawrence of Arabia, kind of mellow out, do whatever, and then I'll slowly, like, let them scare me around the corner when I bring breakfast around, and then hopefully by the time they leave,
I would love to see the outline for this rehab. Just to
have a business model.
Yeah, I'd like to see what you get the framing of it.
All right.
Oh, it's my turn again. Okay, sorry, I didn't know because we skipped around.
Here I can go. I got one here.
Good.
Here's one. Hannibal makes a comeback.
I've been wanting that for a while.
They've been teasing it for a while. Like, Brian Fuller was like, well, we'd like to do it. We'd like to plan it out. And, like, that article spread like wildfire, and now it's the only thing I can think of because I want, like, closure. Because the original plan was they were going to do, like, X amount of seasons, Red Dragon, Silence of the Lambs, Hannibal. And we never got to see that. And I love Mads Nicholson.
Mads Nicholson, yep.
I love him. And I actually saw something with Lawrence, I always guess, Fishburne?
Yeah.
Fishburne.
Larry Fishburne.
Larry Fishburne. I saw him in something the other day, and it just reminded me of how much I miss that whole cast in Cannibal.
So good.
Hannibal.
Yeah.
Wait, he
Not
was in
wrong.
Hannibal?
Yeah, he was the detective.
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so there was Hannibal, the detective who was
He played Crawford, right? So that was the guy that was running Jodie Foster in the Silence of the Lambs.
and then Lawrence Fishburne was the, like, head of the
That's what I'm
department.
saying. He was Crawford.
Yeah, he was so good. I just want them to come out, even if they just do it, like, I don't know.
Well, they only have one more cycle in them, right? Like that's.
I think so, because I think it was supposed to be like this
It's
one.
the Red Dragon cycle.
Yeah,
Or I can't remember.
it was supposed to be, if I remember correctly, this season, and then the films. They were going to tackle those,
Right.
So they were like at the home stretch of it, and then NBC was like, "Oh, we don't like good shows, so let me just pull the plug on this." Because we have, like, tell me what the number one show on NBC is right now.
I have no idea.
Exactly.
Big Bang on that?
I don't remember. No, that's CBS.
I don't care.
They probably got some cop show.
Yeah.
Oh,
it's-
for sure. Like
Yeah,
Blue
it's
Bloods or...
Yeah, it's
Some-
like NCIS,
NCIS.
Luxembourg or something.
Yeah, but we can't finish out Hannibal. Gee,
Right,
thanks.
Right.
Ugh. There we go. So that's my. I got one more resolution after that, but
I'm with you.
But please bring back Hannibal. Just finish it off. Tell me whose dick I got to suck to get Hannibal happening.
I've got one resolution that's related to one of your resolutions, and it's just that I want the Halloween franchise to make peace with Danielle Harris
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
and give her something in the last one, right? Like whatever it is, and then just be done with this feud between them, because it hurts my heart.
I mean, I know it's like a huge feud, but like that's
No,
a good point.
yeah.
It's a fun feud to like pay attention to. I don't know.
It is a fun feud, but like that's the thing is I think the the camp that's on Danielle Harris's side aren't having as much fun with it.
Oh, that's true.
as
They desperately wanted her back. Yeah, because like this new one totally undoes her character entirely.
Right.
Yeah, and like also resetting it. Sorry, you're talking about Halloween. I'm
right.
gonna
I know.
talk too much.
Yep.
If they're redoing the whole like series, essentially, Laurie Strode only spent like 5 minutes with Dr. Loomis in her life,
Right.
Because they're only together in that last scene,
Yep.
and that's it. If
Yep.
you don't count any of Halloween 2.
Yep, it's
that's a
weird.
bummer to me.
It's totally weird. But the thing is, Danielle Harris is one of the best actresses in horror, as a best genre actress.
Yeah,
right.
I give that.
And I think the one thing to me is, this is what you guys do. This is what you're paid to do. This is why you make millions of dollars. You're creative, clever people. Figure out a sly way to take this on, work it in, and then just be done with this.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
Give her like a small role.
Exactly.
Obviously not playing Jamie. But
Obviously, right.
yeah, because now wait, Judy Greer I think is playing her daughter. Judy Greer is the
Yes.
Kitty Sanchez from Arrested Development.
Yes.
And Carol and Archer.
Yes.
She's
Totally.
awesome, so I'm really excited.
Also, the weird sister in Jurassic World.
Oh yeah,
She was like, "You gotta have kids," and
Yeah,
everyone's
she
like, "Huh? The fuck I do?"
That's right.
Oh, that's a bonus resolution. I hope the Jurassic World 2 Fallen Kingdom, whatever the hell it's called, trailer is not representative of the actual film, because that trailer was hot garbage. And I am a glass half full kind of person. I always try to find the best thing, but goddamn, was that just a bad
I just
trailer.
didn't watch it.
It's terrible. It's god awful. A Quiet Place, that was that what's called. That trailer's years better. It's a completely different film, but
Right.
I would rather watch that trailer a million times than Jurassic World 2. Again, hoof. All right, so who's got more resolutions?
I got one last one.
I got one last one.
I'm done.
You're done?
Done.
I thought you had a Twin Peaks resolution.
Oh, God damn it, I'm not done.
Okay, so my last resolution is, I know some people don't care about like award seasons, like they think Oscars and Golden Globes are all bullshit or whatever. And but I personally enjoy watching them. I think they're fun, and I would think, as a creative person, if someone's like, "Hey, you've won an Oscar," I wouldn't say, "Oh, that means nothing." I would be like, "Holy shit, that is fantastic."
Well, you're also legally not allowed to not watch the Oscars living in LA.
Yeah, everyone has to do
They
it.
break down your door and right.
They
Turn it on,
should
change
put a
the
helicopter light through your window,
Yes,
and they
exactly.
make you do it. My hope is that Get Out wins some Oscars. I don't know which Oscars.
Best comedy.
Best comedy? Exactly. That's what I'm thinking. Best comedy.
Jesus.
Knock that out. That is ridiculous. But I would like for it to win some Oscars in the style that like Silence of the Lambs won it.
That's
Just
a good resolution.
and it's just because like people still kind of low key shit on the horror genre a little bit. Like they always act like it's never, like this year they were like, horror's profitable again. And we're like, again?
Right.
Like it's always been, like it's always
Well,
been.
not to repeat ourselves, but this is the we tilted at the windmills with our feud with Kenneth Turan or whatever this guy. The film
Oh yeah,
critic. And this guy said he's never watching a horror movie again. He's a film critic.
Good for
the
him.
LA.
I don't care.
Yeah, exactly. But
that was our point.
that was our point. But he one of the things in his clickbaity article where he was saying he was never going to watch horror again and we should all care, is that he was like, horror's encroaching, the genre movies are encroaching on real movies. Fuck you. Like that's not a thing. There's Rosemary's Baby and Exorcist and all this. These are
Alien.
Right. These are, yeah, exactly. So, Get Out is I don't like the feeling that we're going to pat someone on the back with one award and then just move on. I would like to see it win a few.
Yeah.
Just to show that, we're not looking at it as genre, we're looking at it as quality.
Yeah, like this is a quality movie that deserves the awards.
Yeah, and I know this will never happen. This would be like a fun another resolution. I'd love for the Academy to have a category for horror, because it makes no sense that when they just shoehorn like well-made horror movies into like comedy and musical.
Yeah.
Like I know they're never going to do it. Just like for some reason they don't have best stunts category, because like that's like an art
That-
itself.
Totally should be a thing.
But I don't know. I think horror. I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that high hopes? Like, is this crazy?
That is crazy.
It is crazy?
that's
I'm a crazy man?
You're a crazy man.
That makes
It's still
sense.
crazy. It's not going to happen.
No. Well, one can dream.
Yes.
That's a resolution. We
That's
just
right.
gotta hope it happens and try to do something to make it happen. So that's my last resolution for 2018 that I hope to see.
Big surprise, spoiler, my resolution is that they green light another season of Twin Peaks.
Nice.
You would be excited for it, right? Like you don't feel like. I know. I just.
Of course I'd be
I
excited.
assume there's
I'd be
some
thrilled.
fans who are probably like, you know.
I think there's an exhaustion that set in just from all the hype and the circus around it and the length of time that it was sort of known about. I mean, I think Lynch took like 4 years to make it, so it's not like this snuck up on us. But the thing is, Twin Peaks: The Return was. It's a concept that stood in the shadow of the original. There was no way to not compare the two. Even if you tried, you couldn't not compare the two. But now that has been done, that comparison is passed. Now the next Twin Peaks would be compared to The Return, which I would find really interesting, right? Because if you're comparing whatever came next to The Return, it would be way less of a shadow cast.
Yeah.
Right. So I think people would be able to let go and enjoy it more without having to like figure out the world building and all the sinews and connections to the other one. And plus it's there's no doubt in my mind that The Return was the best television show on in 2017. So even though it's intellectually exhausting to some of the fans, I can't imagine not wishing for the best show ever to have another cycle.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
that's fair.
Makes sense to me.
Yeah.
what you got?
Oh, last one is honestly just a personal one. I want to score as many horror movies as possible.
There you go.
And I got 3.
We should have all had that for him.
Yeah. I got three coming that I'm doing, so I'm pretty happy with that. But I want to do as many as I can.
There you go. Well, we'll make that happen.
Well, speaking of resolutions, I also resolved that our Facebook page doubles at least
Oh yeah.
in 2000.
no, let's go higher than that. Let's go 100K.
100K.
100K. We could go to 50 easy. But I'm looking at the six figures in the group.
Fair enough. And it's not just for numbers. It's because we have such a good time on there with the community. It's amazing.
It's an incredible community, yeah.
It's an incredible. It's the best community, horror community on anywhere on social media, and it's
The Roxbury of horror clubs.
yes.
We got what's his name out there, making sure not just any old Joe Blow can get in there.
Exactly. But yeah, that's the thing is it's also a place where we get a lot of ideas for not only what the podcast episodes are going to be, but also where horror fans get to sort of have their say. That's our goal.
And make the show better.
Yeah, because we get I mean, there's a lot of places to turn for horror news, but to find out how horror fans really feel about something. Honestly, when I go back and I look through the page, it's amazing. It's like a database of, we're doing a series now which we call If Then. So it's if you like this movie, you will probably like this movie.
I like that.
And we threw a movie on there which was
Thing?
yeah, we threw The Thing on there, and we threw the others on there.
Yes.
And when we put the others up, I was expecting the only response I was expecting was The Sixth Sense.
Yeah.
I mean, honestly, that was the one.
Yeah.
Because it was the twist ending, right? And then everyone voted up The Changeling. I was like, holy shit, I haven't seen that movie in so long. That's such a good suggestion, right? So
Yeah.
it's that kind of dynamism that happens in the community that makes it totally worth it. So the more the merrier. 6 figures.
That's what I'm saying. Aim high, baby.
All right.
Easy. Well, there you have it. So there's some horror resolutions going into 2018. Let us know what your resolutions are on the page, and you can say, "Hey, I was there when they were before they hit the 6 figures."
That's right.
Before that, you can see, and you
Be
can
there
probably say
first.
that. It's like those old school Disneyland tickets people take photos of. Where it's like I was the 300th person to ride whatever the fuck was there when it opened. So until next time,
Happy New Year's, everyone.
Happy New Year's, and stay scary and watch a bunch of horror movies. It's that easy. Bye, guys.